How to write a tax-efficient will. Chapter 1. Why write a will? In this chapter, we shall discuss briefly what a will is, whether you should consider writing one, and how writing one may help you save inheritance tax. We should also look at what criteria needs to be satisfied to ensure that your will is valid. This is not a book intended to instruct you as to the law of wills, but rather one aiming to bridge the gap in the minds of most people between will writing and inheritance tax. Discussions on the law will be brief, restricted to necessary guidance to assist the reader's understanding of common terms used in will writing. A will is a declaration of how you would like your assets to be managed or distributed on your death. In the event that you have not made a will at the time of your death, your assets will be divided in accordance with the laws of intestacy, which apply in the jurisdiction where you are domiciled. For example, if you have lived in England and Wales all your life, then your property will be distributed in accordance with the laws governing the distribution of assets when a person dies without a will in England and Wales. This is what is commonly referred to as intestate. For those who live in Scotland or are domiciled there, their assets will be determined in accordance with the laws of intestacy in Scotland. In Appendix 4, I have provided a chart showing how the laws of England and Wales distributes the assets of a person who has died without a will in England and Wales. And in Appendix 5, there is a chart showing how the laws of Scotland distributes the assets of a person who has died without a will in Scotland. There are a few critical things which one needs when deciding to write a will. The first point we will discuss here is one's financial position. It is a good idea to have an appreciation of your net worth. Many people believe that they are not worth much, own nothing, and do not need a will. You may be surprised to realize that you are worth much more than you imagined. Alternatively, you may be surprised to realize that you are worth much less. The beauty of writing a will lies in the fact that you may be making provision for property which you may have received unexpectedly. In order to get an idea of what you are worth, you can complete a simple assets and liability sheet which can be found at the back of this book in Appendix 1. The second thing to remember is regarding the rules surrounding the validity of a will in England and Wales. English law does not require any special qualifications to enable someone to write a will. Anyone can write their will. The law, however, places great emphasis on whether or not a will is valid. So if you are concerned about writing a will which does not render itself open to flimsy challenges, you should be certain to follow the formalities required to ensure the validity of your will. The important things to remember when writing a will are: 1. You make the will of your own volition. It should be your decision to write your will. 2. You are sane when you make your will. You are not suffering from any mental delusions. 3. You understand exactly what you are doing and the consequences of the distributions you are to make in your will. 4. You comply with the right formalities for signing a will in your jurisdiction, thereby ensuring its validity when you are no longer with us. 5. You intend, by complying with the formalities for making a will, to give effect to your will. In England and Wales, you need to ensure that when you sign your will, you do so in the presence of two people present at the same time who see you sign the will and who sign as your witnesses in your presence during the same sitting. So, all three of you must be present together and see what one another are doing, knowing that you are doing so to give effect to the will. This does not mean that your witnesses must know the contents of your will. Further, you should ensure that none of your witnesses are beneficiaries or stand to gain anything from your will. In other words, the person who witnesses you signing your will should not be given a benefit or any gift in your will. Ensure that the witnesses have nothing to gain from your will. There could be variations or exceptions to how a will may be deemed to be valid, given various signing scenarios. But I would advise that you stick to the description given above to ensure validity in accordance with the laws of England and Wales. The witnesses should also not be the husband, wife, or civil partner of any person to whom you have gifted property in your will. If this was the case, the will may still remain valid, but the gift to the husband, wife, or partner of the witness could fail. Use witnesses who are unlikely to benefit directly or indirectly from your will. It is also important that your witnesses are fully able to appreciate what they are participating in. Sighted witnesses are recommended, and persons who are able to read and write, and who are not suffering from any mental disorders. It is imperative that your witnesses should be reliable and able to substantiate by giving evidence in court as to how your will was attested, should the need arise. Thirdly, as far as English law is concerned, your property is yours, and you may do with it what you will, subject to a few adjustments a court may make based on a case-by-case basis, such as making provision for dependents. However, before delving into our various examples of wills based on the life of Jane, let us do some preparatory work defining some commonly used terms in will writing, some inheritance tax essentials, and the groundwork which may assist you before you embark upon writing your will. It is good to understand the role which other people play in your will. In Appendix 2, I have provided a form to guide you as to what you should consider before giving instructions to the drafter.